Good evening. Do we have power here? Yes, we do. Good evening, everyone. This is a regular scheduled council meeting, and at this time I'd ask that the clerk please call the roll.
Mr. Bilkey.
Here.
Ms. Brandt.
Here.
Mr. Molnar.
Here.
Ms. Tully.
Here.
Mr. Ventura.
Here.
Okay, at this time I'm going to call on Tom O'Brien, American Legion Post 801 chaplain and city chaplain, and he's going to lead us in prayer and thereafter the Pledge of Allegiance. So you please rise.
With bowed heads, let us pray. O Lord, our God, we ask that you comfort all those who are bereaved with the spirit of faith and courage. May they remember with thanksgiving thy love and joy shared in an earthly relationship. May they be comforted with the sure knowledge of a joyful reunion with those they love in your time. We ask the Almighty God that you watch over our police and fire personnel, for they are our first responders to crises that may arise at any time, day or night. Keep them safe, so at the end of their workday, they may return unharmed to their homes and loved ones. And, O God, the strength of the weak and the comfort of sufferers, mercifully accept our prayers on behalf of our neighbors and loved ones who are ill or shut in. We know not what is best for them, but you know. Grant them thy patience and endurance, relief from pain and suffering, and, if it be your will, the blessing of a swift recovery, and that eventually they may dwell with you in life everlasting. Amen. And now if you please place the flag and join me in our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Chaplain. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the minutes of our February 8th, 2018 meeting.
I make a motion to accept the minutes of February 2018 as submitted by the Clerk of Council.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried. Next item on the agenda would be any public comments, and I see that we have one, Kathy Loya. Hi, Kathy.
Good evening. My name is Kathy Loya. I live at 9186 North Bedford Road. I have a couple of questions this evening. With regards to the ordinance 11-2018 and the satellite stations, is this ordinance purely for aesthetic purposes?
The primary purpose with the satellite ordinance is for health, safety, and aesthetics, so it's all three.
Does this also apply to like antenna, television antennas?
It's specifically regulated in the ordinance. It's, I believe, satellites over 2 feet in diameter and up to 8 feet is the maximum.
Okay.
And any appurtenances there too.
Okay. Thank you. I just want to ask council, aren't there a little bit bigger fish to fry here in the city of Macedonia other than satellite dishes on private property that private residents purchase to have put in? From my perspective, the aesthetics on my property when it's flooded is far worse than satellite dishes. This private citizen has no choice in how I get to see my property or what it looks like. City of Macedonia routes stormwater right through my property and retains on my property until it's able to flow through the system into Indian Creek. I, as a private citizen, can do nothing to change it because I don't control how much water comes to my property or at the rate at which it flows. I just have to deal with it, and I have to pay for it. The costs I pay are monetary to mitigate damage and also to hold flood insurance. Also the integrity of my home and property, as well as the grief and worry about it all. My husband and I, we've been bringing issues to council since 2006, and more recently I've been speaking on a regular basis since January of 15. Our problem is not getting any better, it's only getting worse and continues to be ignored. My property continues to be a problem despite decades and decades of knowledge about it, and it's not been fixed. Did you know that through the history of our home, we've had 2 foundation walls completely rebuilt due to stormwater damage? I don't know if there's any other homes in the city that have had that. I'm not sure if anybody might know. We've also been moved to an AE flood zone when the maps were redrawn a couple years back in '09. I know that my neighbors, all of us, were moved into that zone. I'm not sure if any other homes in the area were moved as well. I brought up to council at the first meeting in 2018 that my flood insurance rates are going up 15 to 18% per year, and then at that same rate every additional year until FEMA decides, hey, you've reached the right rate. When my husband and I moved to our property in '05, flood insurance was required because our home wasn't part of a floodplain. When FEMA redid the maps, that's when we were brought into a floodplain, requiring us to carry flood insurance. So we have seen our rates go up each year, but not at this 15 to 18% rate. And like I said, our home has had 2 foundation walls replaced. One was prior to our ownership. My husband and I were still crazy high school kids the first time it happened. But it happened to our home, the west wall caved in, and stormwater filled the basement. And as owners of this home, the north wall suffered severe horizontal crack and severe bowing from the June 22nd, 2006 flood. That, of course, filled their basement as well. In my opinion, uncontrolled and unmanaged stormwater throughout Macedonia is a much more damaging issue facing private residents than the aesthetics of satellite dishes. This includes flooding of private property, but also of roads. How about Ledge Road under the railroad bridge and the intersection of 82 and North Bedford? While the 2018 road program is being geared up for springtime projects, what does the 2018 stormwater program look like?
Catch basins will be repaired and replaced. Your situation is obviously one that's under Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District. Obviously, they're looking at it, and I know that it's taken 2 years for them to even get anywhere. And that's somewhat out of our control a little bit. We've talked and had meetings about building retention basins, trying to move the ditch line. We sympathize with your situation, but it's not an overnight cure. We haven't done Our Lady of Guadalupe's retention basin, which has been on the books as well for a long time, to get that done. And so we are trying to take a snail's pace at it, and we're not getting any aid from NERSD on that one. Well, we can pull some dollars from NERSD that they take out on the fees, but they're not giving us any assistance because it's a secondary area. Yours is a primary area. Everything that drains down comes to that point there, and we've talked about how we could move the ditch line further behind your property to the backside, build a retention basin. There's a number of things that we think that could possibly work, but one thing with the retention basin is that it's likely that we would have to have a pump there, so that in order to create the volume that's necessary to hold and retain the water, that at some point or another you'd have to pump it upward to get it out of there so that it wouldn't overflow again. So and since the city does own that corner, that preserve area, it would be certainly easy for us to, but it's a cost of probably $400,000 or $500,000 to get that done.
So right now the stormwater program is just looking at catch basins.
Our stormwater program is just doing catch basins, replacing curbs that lead to the stormwater, and rebuilding catch basins throughout the city.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor, what's the holdup on, I'm sorry, Kathy.
That's okay.
What's the holdup on the Guadalupe project? Just money?
It's money, yeah. I mean, we just, actually today I just signed the easement agreement with Our Lady of Guadalupe. So we're moving forward in trying to get something done there, but it's again a cost that's probably another $400,000 or $500,000 job.
And when you have that, are you going to have a meeting with the residents? Such as
yes,
my
and
neighbor,
one of the reasons
my other
that-
neighbor, and the one where all the water goes in the basement.
Yeah.
They're going to want to know where this water's going to go
Yeah.
out of this retention.
Well, one of the
basin.
reasons that we wanted to expedite to get the easement in place and get everything in order is because last year I got contacted by a contractor that needed a lot of dirt. So similar to when we built Longwood Park, we never paid to put in that lake. We had the developer who needed dirt come in and take the dirt out. I'm hoping that I can do the same thing and save the city a whole lot of money by getting rid of the dirt. They'll come in there and dig and take all the dirt out of there, and then we'll have to just deal with the head walls and the pipeline that leads to the retention basin. So that's one of the reasons that we're moving that as fast as we can forward.
Well, I can recall that Our Lady of Guadalupe, that issue has been around for a long time as part of the DSCC Stormwater Committee way back when, in '07, '08, whatever. That was right up there on the list. So 10 years later, hopefully, it'll happen. But in closing, council, just do what you must on Ordinance 11, 2018, but let's start facing some real issues facing residents. The city really needs to stop being reactionary to stormwater problems directly after an event. Let's be proactive and get down to business to finally address these issues. Issue 3 was passed last year for roads and stormwater. We all are happy to see action with the roads, but that same action needs to be fixing real stormwater issues. Of course, as the mayor mentioned, my stormwater issue, of course, is a regional issue now, and NURSD just studies and studies and studies. So my problem, though, I feel, is a Macedonia problem, whether you like to hear it or not. My problem needs to be fixed. Property owners at 883 Iroquois Run had their problem fixed in the summer of '15 by being bought out by the city. No new study, no foundation walls knocked down because of stormwater damage, and no change in their flood status. And of course, nobody knows the stormwater effects that the purchase of that home is going to have in the area because it was just finally removed in October of '17 for a retention pond to be put in. Time, of course, will tell on that issue, but time has told us that ignoring stormwater issues for decades, such as my problem, doesn't mean that they go away. So again, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kathy.
Kathy, I have a quick question. Has the city ever done an appraisal of the possible purchase price for your house?
For our property, no.
Okay.
I made a motion for that back years ago and it got denied, so.
That's something we could revisit perhaps when we start our budget work in March?
Perhaps.
Okay. Next item on the agenda would be, let's see here.
Do you want to skip ahead or do you want to just make one?
Why don't we just go through what we have? So, why don't we go to this first ordinance then, ordinance number 11?
Jessica's.
Mayor, I propose that we put a hold on the ordinance number 11, 2018, and hold it at the second reading at this time.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried. Next item is ordinance number 16.
Mr. Mayor, I move to offer ordinance number 16, 2018 for its second and third reading by title only.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried.
An ordinance amending codified ordinance, Chapter 182, City of Macedonia's income tax ordinance.
Okay. You've heard the reading?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass and post ordinance number 16, 2018 to the same according to law.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Again, is there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 17.
Mayor, I'd like to move to offer to ordinance number 17, 2018, for its second and third reading by title only.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion's carried.
An ordinance providing for the review of the charter by the Charter Review Commission, fixing its duties and establishing a procedure for the review.
Okay, you've heard the reading?
Mayor, I move to adopt ordinance number 17, 2018, and post same according to law.
Second.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 29.
Mayor, I offer ordinance 29, 2018 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried.
An ordinance confirming the mayor's promotion of Christian Costello to the position of police sergeant of the City of Macedonia's Police Department.
Okay, you heard the reading?
I move that we pass and post according to law ordinance 29, 2018.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Where's Christian? Oh, there he is. Well, Christian, we're going to ask you to step forward here, and as you do so, and the chief and your wife, Missy, where's she at? There she is. So why don't you guys come around this way? But I'm going to take the motion first and call for a roll call, or all those in favor indicate, do a roll call.
Mr. Bilkey?
Yes.
Ms. Brandt?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar?
Well, you've been with us a number of years, sir, and I've admired your work, so congratulations, and look forward to seeing you on your new position. Yes.
Ms. Tully?
I echo that, yes.
Mr. Ventura?
I echo that also, being in the same business as he is, and I congratulate him also and vote yes.
Sir, don't you want them down here?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Motion's carried.
And you have to have a speech, you know that, right?
That's right.
10-minute speech from you and your
15-minute
wife.
speech.
We're going to have a parade after this, by the way. I understand that Christian wanted to have a parade. Congratulations.
SWAT team in defense.
You've got a little bit more work coming. First of all, I'm going to swear you in, and then I'll have Missy pin on your badge and take off the oath. So raise your right hand and repeat after me, Christian. I, Christian Costello,
I, Christian Costello,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
and affirm
and affirm
that I shall uphold
that I shall uphold
and support
and support
in word and spirit
in word and spirit
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
all laws of the federal and state,
all laws of the federal and state,
charter and ordinances and resolutions of the City of Macedonia,
charter, ordinances, and resolutions of the City of Macedonia,
and that I shall faithfully,
and I shall faithfully,
honestly,
honestly,
and impartially discharge my duties
and partially discharge my duties
as full-time sergeant
as full-time sergeant
during my term of office,
during my term of office,
as I shall answer to God.
as I shall answer to God.
Congratulations.
Not on the stand.
Again, congratulations, Missy. Congratulations.
I think he has other
Christian, would
people
you
he
sign
needs
this,
to
please?
introduce.
That makes it all official.
Hey, Chief, you're supposed to introduce the family as well.
Yes.
And a speech.
Where's the guys taking him tonight? Anywhere? Your new sergeant?
That's my mother, Sandy, walking over there, my dad, Jim, my brother, Chad, my nephew, Gavin, my niece, Lydia, my two boys there. Cole, Landon, my daughter, Riley,
Thank
with
you.
glasses, and my in-laws in the back, Ron and Sue. And then, three guys from work and some guys from Swanton.
Well, congratulations. I'm very proud of you, Christian.
They go over the column, stare in park, reverse.
Never heard enough of them.
Okay. Let us know where you're going to be, so we can have a drink together.
Yes, he
Of
is.
course I will.
Council votes yes.
He offered.
Okay, the next item on the agenda would be,
Oh, he's got a lot of friends.
Ordinance
That guy.
30.
30.
ordinance number 30.
I'm waiting 1 second. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 30, 2018 for its first, second, and third reading by title only, please.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried.
An ordinance confirming the appointment by the mayor of Jim Ferris to the position of part-time firefighter in the City of Macedonia.
Okay, you've heard the reading.
Mr. Mayor, I'd ask that we pass and post according to law, ordinance 30, 2018.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried. Jim, are you here in the audience? Yes, sir. Hi, Jim. I'm going to ask you to step forward. What we're going to do is we're going to pass them all. But since you're here with your relatives or whatever, would you like to just kind of stand and introduce them?
Sure. Hi, I'm Jim Ferris, this is my wife, Sue.
Okay. So we'll call you all up at the same time, we'll swear you all in, and we'll go through that process at the very end, okay? All right. Tim, would you like to say anything?
I'll say when we're all done, when we're all through.
I'm sorry?
I'll talk when we're all through.
Okay, great. Next item on the agenda then would be ordinance number 31.
Mayor, I offer ordinance 31, 2018 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried.
An ordinance confirming the appointment by the mayor of Anthony Girardi to the position of part-time firefighter in the city of Macedonia.
Okay, you've heard the reading.
Move that we pass and post according to law ordinance 31, 2018.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried. Next item on the agenda, I'm sorry. Are you here in the audience? I'm sorry.
That's just my mom, my dad are here.
I'm sorry, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Anthony, where are you from?
Independence.
Independence?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I did get a call about you. It was a good call, though. It was a good call. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And again, for some reason, I don't have his oath of office in my packet.
Diana, let's with Diana.
Okay.
That's your secretary.
You might have to come back, or you can take the oath of office, and then I'll have you
just-
sign it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, next item on the agenda would then be ordinance number 32.
Mayor, I move to offer ordinance number 32, 2018 for its first, second, and third readings by title only.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried.
An ordinance confirming the appointment by the mayor of Tyler Hill to the position of part-time firefighter in the city of Macedonia.
Okay, you've heard the reading.
Mayor, I recommend that we pass and post ordinance number 32, 2018, according to law.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried. And Tyler, are you here?
Right here, sir.
Okay, is there anyone with you you'd like to introduce?
Yeah, my stepdad, Assistant Chief Bosso, my mother, my grandfather, my aunt, my grandmother.
Great, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
And again, we'll have you come up and the chief will say some good words about you, I'm sure. Maybe. Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 33.
Mayor, I offer to move ordinance number 33, 2018 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried.
An ordinance confirming the appointment by the mayor of Ben Kramer to the position of part-time firefighter in the city of Macedonia.
Mayor, I move to adopt ordinance number 33, 2018, and have it posted same accordingly to law.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none, the motion's carried. Ben, are you here?
He is not.
He is not, okay. Okay, not here. All right, congratulations to him anyhow. Next item on the agenda would then be ordinance number 34.
I offer ordinance number 34, 2018 for its first, second, and third reading.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried.
An ordinance confirming the appointment by the mayor of Jason Petray to the position of part-time firefighter in the city of Macedonia.
Okay, you've heard the reading.
I move we pass and post ordinance number 34, 2018 to the same according to law.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried. And is Jason here?
Yes, sir.
Hi, Jason.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity. Proud of doing that.
Do you have any family or anybody?
not.
Okay, well, congratulations
Thank
to
you
you.
so much.
Next item on the agenda would be then ordinance number 35.
Mayor, I move to offer ordinance number 35, 2018 for its first, second, and third readings by title only.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion's carried.
An ordinance confirming the appointment by the mayor of Michael Swagat to the position of part-time firefighter in the city of Macedonia.
Okay, you've heard the reading.
Mayor, I recommend that we pass and post ordinance number 35, 2018 to the same according to law.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion's carried.
Michael?
Are you here? Thank you. Would you like to introduce your family or anybody?
My family's not here, so
Okay.
I just want to thank you for the opportunity to work for your city.
Okay, great. And
Did
we,
she pronounce your name right?
It's Swaget, but
Swaget?
close enough, I'm here.
Say that again for me, Swaget?
Swaget.
Swaget? I didn't want to say it, that's why I didn't say it. I didn't think I could get it out, and I'm pretty good with names.
Nothing to know or about, right?
Okay, and the last item on the, or another item on the agenda is resolution number 36.
Mayor, I move to offer ordinance number 36, 2018, for its first, second, and third readings by title only.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion's carried.
An ordinance confirming the appointment by the mayor of Dave Hedrick to the position, to Macedonia Civil Service Commission.
Okay, you've heard the reading?
I move to adopt ordinance number 36, 2018, and post the same according to law.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion's carried. And I don't know, I don't think Dave's in here. I'm looking around, I don't see him. I met with him the other day, and he's a retired detective from Brecksville, been a Macedonia resident for quite a number of years, and I think he'll be a great fit on the Civil Service Commission.
Is he related to Jason? That's right.
No.
Okay, the last item of any resolutions is resolution number 37.
Mayor, I would like to waive the 48-hour rule and introduce resolution number 37, 2018.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion's carried.
Mayor, I offer resolution number 37, 2018 for its first, second, and third reading, suspending the rules.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion's carried.
Oh, you need me to read it, don't you? What? Do something here?
Josephine,
A res-
I'm sorry.
a
I'm very
resol-
sorry for doing it, but can you add section 2 in there? Because I forgot to mention it.
You want me to read
Just to
section
say,
2?
yeah, with her name, please.
And would you like me to also read section 1 with the names as well? That's a good idea. Yeah.
Do section 1 and 2.
Okay, perfect. So, a resolution confirming the appointments to the Charter Review Commission, Section 1, that the council and the mayor hereby appoint the following qualified electors of Macedonia to the Charter Review Commission for 2018. Joe Biber, Kathy Loya, Shane Barker, Stephen P. Donaldson Jr., Ryan Sweeney, and Donald Cookta. Section 2, council hereby elects Jessica Brandt as its council representative to the Charter Review Commission for 2018.
Okay, you've heard the reading.
Move that we pass and post according to law resolution 37, 2018.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The motion's carried. At this time, I'm going to call all of those individuals that we just passed to come forward, and I'm going to have you stand up here.
Jan, he's asked, what?
Congratulations, fellas.
He'd like you to pin a badge.
We need your family members. We're going to do them.
Oh, they're all the family members? Okay. Let me get you a good size. Do solemnly swear. And affirm. That I shall uphold. And support in word. And spirit. The Constitution of the United States of America. The Constitution of the State of Ohio. All laws of federal and state. The Charter. Ordinances and resolutions. Of the City of Macedonia. And that I shall faithfully, honestly, and impartially discharge my duties as part-time firefighters during my term of office, as I shall answer to God. Congratulations.
Don't hurt him. Don't hurt him, Ma. I know two of the families. I know two of the families. Known Giardi's for the forever.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember her.
Also wants me to stay out of it.
It was fun. We had a good time.
And you are?
Are you here next week?
There you go, right there. The thumbs don't work.
Did you spill on it?
Right there?
Should I sign that or should I sign my regular signature?
Right there.
Matter.
However you sign. You are. Now, one of them's missing. Okay, there you go. Got it?
Thank you.
One of them is, yeah, Anthony is yours, right. And you are?
I was gonna say, wait a minute, I don't know if I could,
There was the one on the table.
Do I get to take a firefighter?
And you're Tyler, correct? Yeah, yes.
For fire-related activities, Mark, what are you talking about? To check my alarms. For fire-related activities, what are you thinking? Oh, okay.
Thank you all for your patience. Okay, we're moving on in our agenda here. Are there any other motions or other legislative actions to be taken at this time? Okay, hearing none, are there any correspondence?
I do have one, sir.
Okay, great.
Dear Chief Black, we are remiss in not writing sooner to express our thanks for the response and care of your EMS team at our home on February 1. I called 911 as my wife had passed out and began to convulse. The operator was very calm and assuring. The police officer, first to arrive, immediately and calmly went about his assessment of the situation. The ambulance arrived within minutes and the EMS professionals took over, while all the responders played their parts in a very calming and reassuring manner. The team leader was most impressive. Everyone deferred to his direction, and he was most calming and persuasive to my wife and to me in recommending that what action should come next. People are born to do what he does People are born to do what he does as well as he does. For lack of a better term, I'll call it bedside manner. But it is obvious to me that your people in the police and fire units work very well together, are very highly trained, and are highly qualified people. You have developed a great team. One of the reasons we moved to Taormina was the proximity of these resources. We chose wisely. Please pass our thanks on to your people. Jim and Mary Velvoda of Jennifer Lane.
Thank you. Okay, any other correspondence? Hearing none, I'll move on to Mayor's report. The one item that I'd like to report is that we're obviously getting very much closer to getting the locker room addition onto the rec center. And I want to make it clear, because it's very important to make this clear, that there were some residual dollars that were left over from the income tax collection that is allowing us to make this investment back into the building. The monies that were generated and residual dollars from that income tax can only be spent at the rec center. They cannot be spent on roads, they can't be spent on storm anything else in the city has to go back into that building. Obviously, competition is starting to grow in the area with other venues for people to go, and it's been over 20 years that any major renovations have been done to that facility. So by putting in a new men's locker room and in the new addition, as well as a totally new woman's locker room, and then taking the existing woman's locker room and making that into a large family changing area. We are getting very close to starting. We started ordering material. We've had all of our site plans that have identified where all of our stormwater is, connections and sanitary, what have you, and we've been working very vigorously to get that done. So I'm excited about it. I think everybody that's hearing about it up at the rec center is very excited to know that there will be a new locker room facility up there for everyone. So during construction, I would hope that everybody can bear with us as they come up to the rec center, because there's going to be this construction, which is right at the main entrance almost, just to the left of the main entrance as you enter into the facility. And if weather permits, I'm hoping that we can get it started probably late March. So that's our goal, and once we start, we'll get the walls up and the roof on, and a lot of the work that has to be done obviously is on the inside. There's a lot of drains, there's a lot of showers, and it's going to be one nice facility, so bear with us on that.
Is there a timeline of when it's going to be completed?
I'm going to say that I can give you a better timeline once I start construction. If we start in, let's say, March, I'm going to say that April, May, June, give me to July or so, and I think we should be pretty close to having everything done on the inside. So
I was thinking
we are.
years, okay.
How long?
Years?
No, by a year.
No.
Good.
No, I'll never forget that when I built my first or second building in Macedonia, a convenience store came in and said, we need our store done in 30 days. I said, you need it done in 30 days? Well, certainly I got it done in 30 days. So because I'm going to be overseeing it as the general, basically, and the city's going to be involved, we're going to save a lot of money for the residents and get it done just like we built this building that I had a part in, and building the rec center too. So we're going to expedite it as quickly as possible. So.
Thank you. Yeah, perfect. Like I said, I thought it'd be a longer project than that.
Yeah, no, we're going to move quickly on it. Time is of the essence, if you will.
That's obviously the one question I've been getting asked. How long is it going to take?
The other issue is that I repeat myself on this quite a bit, and that is that we're going to be going to the ballot in May for a 0.25% increase for safety force operations as well as service. And included in this is to obviously upgrade our 911 system, to upgrade our communications, and to put more personnel into positions as we have like resource officers or detectives or whatever, as our city continues to grow. In the police department, in the fire department, 2219, which is our aerial truck, which we bought over 20 years ago, can't be recertified. Costs too much money to recertify it, and it's going to cost about $1.1 million to buy a new one. That's what keeps and helps keeping our insurance rates down through ISO. So we need to replace that piece of equipment. Unfortunately, it costs so much to buy such a piece of equipment, but it's necessary in the scheme of keeping our insurance rates down, as I've indicated. And also, it's a tool that, in the event that at any of the schools, we're the first responder with 2219. I'm assuming, Chief, that we'll keep it 2219. He was listening to something, but especially when you get to the high school, we can tower over the building. When we get to the middle school, we can tower up high. So it is a life-saving piece of equipment to have. I'll never forget when we had the situation at Aerosol, and that building was very volatile, if you will. There was a lot of chemicals in it, and the building was exploding, and actually I ordered everybody out of the building, all of our firefighters at that time. But we got over the building, and we were able to shoot down on top and put out and extinguish the fire at that time. But the building was exploding because they had chemical rooms and what have you in that building. I was saying, Chief, that we're probably going to keep 2219 as the number that we would replace 2219 with?
Yes.
Okay. So, again, I encourage all our residents to really look carefully at the issue, and we don't have an issue number that'll be on the May 8th ballot. But it is important for the operation of this city. And one thing we take very seriously is the security of our residents. And I think when you pick up the phone and you call for a police officer, you get one right away. When you pick up the phone and you need EMS or fire department personnel to get to your home, they're there right away. So our city has grown, and one thing that is really interesting is that I started doing somewhat of an analysis of how many people actually come into the city of Macedonia or are through our community each and every day. And I took the number of people that are traveling on 271, on 480, and 82, and I've come up with a number of about 200,000 people that come through our town just about every single day. That's a lot of people. We have just at the intersection of 8 and 82, we have close to 50,000 people a day, or traffic vehicles that travel through that intersection daily. That's a lot of cars. And we have probably 60,000 just on 271 right there. And obviously we have other roads. We've got 480 in our town. We have Highland Road. We got Twinsburg Road. So there's a lot of traffic. Ledge Road. There's just traffic coming from just about everywhere. So that puts an increase on our safety forces and our service department, because obviously we've got more roads to take care of. When there's accidents up on 271 or on 480, who has to respond? We do. We have to police it. We have to respond with EMS and fire trucks and everything else. So with that amount of people that are coming into our town, it's created a burden for us. And that's why it's so important that we keep our safety forces healthy. I want to mention as well that there is a 1 mil levy, fire levy, that had been put on a number of years ago, that if this passes, we're going to remove it, which is a real estate, it's a real estate, the 1 mil is a real estate amount, which amounts to about $60 for a $200,000 home. So if you got a $400,000 home, it would be $120 savings. So it is committed by this council not to offer to renew it if the 0.25% passes. So that's a great thing as well. And I need to again emphasize the fact that unfortunately the state of Ohio, our governor, has taken away from our local government fund about $630,000 annually over the last 6 years. And because of that, it's caused a shortfall in our general fund by $630,000 every year. And by what the legislature and the governor has allowed to occur is really telling the locals, the grassroots people in Macedonia and everywhere else, look, you're being taxed essentially. Now you got to go back to your taxpayers and tell them to ante up more money to operate. And this money just doesn't come out of the air. I mean, we've done, for 6 years, we have lived under a restraint of losing $630,000 annually. We need to make it up. Inflation has caught up with us. So we haven't, what I consider to be extravagant about more hires. I think we maintain a very, very, how should I say, a very tight ship, if you will. And we're not spending money foolishly in the city. We're earmarking this money that's going to come in to, again, operations of the police, fire, and service department. And I'll say this, being one of the longest elected officials up here, that this city unfortunately has, for a lot of its years in existence, has robbed Peter to pay Paul. Our real estate taxes, and I'll say this because I'm a resident, we've been spoiled because our real estate taxes have not been increased since the 60s, essentially. So we've never gone after or asked the residents to increase the taxes. We are, I think, the 3rd or 4th lowest tax district in the entire county, which is significant. What, 3rd, 4th, 5th? 26th in
In
this
the
district?
county.
In the county, out of 76 communities, school districts.
We're the 26th? Okay, I take it back. I'm glad you corrected that because we had that discussion
I
today.
just checked that.
But as I look at the effective rate, as I went through that list, it showed that we were like the 4th.
Well, you know, you have to take into consideration that Macedonia has 3 different school district taxing districts.
And that's probably why I caught the
It's
4th.
Part of
Yeah.
that.
So we have taxing districts that obviously include or take away from us that are in Twinsburg.
Right.
And I think Boston Heights as well.
Yes. Boston Heights is one of the highest.
Yeah, okay. So anyhow, that's my report. I hope that the weather gets better soon so that we can get to our roads and start get those paved. And that's probably the last thing, and I'm sure John may have mentioned this. I know our city engineer is not here tonight, but we are going to start the second phase of streets as soon as weather permits. Contract's already been signed. And then we are in March going to be going out for our 3rd level of streets that will complete, if you will, the commitment that we made of the tax dollars to get, and it's about 31 streets that we're going to pave this year. So our city's really going to look like Orange Barrel City throughout. There's a lot of streets that we're going to get to. And you have to remember, too, that we'll have an annual maintenance program, so that we'll be out annually doing streets through our maintenance program, where we'll be sealing those streets, and in some streets we'll be paving. So we've set aside dollars so that we can continue to do a maintenance program. So, all right, with that, I have no more reports. Committee reports, are there any?
Just want to remind people, 1 week from tonight, 6:30, the Finance Committee will be meeting in the caucus room and talk about the city finances moving forward.
Okay.
The next Parks and Rec meeting is Wednesday, the 7th at 6:30, 6 o'clock.
Okay.
At that committee, you guys get the question that I had asked to bring it up, and this was just actually Ms. Dolly brought up the last meeting about.
Yes,
Okay.
mhm.
Thank you.
Actually, I spoke to Mark about it, and there was a little, it's not completely necessary that the Parks and Rec Commission actually makes the
Okay.
decision. It's actually up to the
Let's give a
mayor,
recommendation.
but we could give a recommendation, might as well.
Ms. Brandt, did you say 6:30 for your?
6 o'clock, I
oh,
was
6
mistaken.
No, for the Parks and Rec.
Yes, 6 o'clock.
Okay. Hearing no other committee reports, then we'll move on to department reports. John?
Can I get away with a no report, Mayor?
If you want. You want to
Perfect.
go home quickly or what?
Unfortunately.
I do have a report, but it's very short. I just want to remind everyone, tomorrow night, we have a dive-in movie scheduled in the pool at the rec center. We'll be showing the movie Finding Dory. So that starts at 7 o'clock p.m. and that'll end at 9 o'clock. So we encourage families, kids, people to come out. They can bring flotation devices, float around in the pool. We'll have some refreshments available and enjoy the movie while swimming and floating around. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Before Rhonda starts, I want to go back to John. I wanted to thank you. I think it was Monday night, I got tagged in a social media post, and I called John, and it was like 9:30 at night, and there was a pothole on Ledge Road. And maybe it was a little bit earlier than that. I would say by 9:30, we had crews out there getting it fixed. So I wanted to thank you and whomever you woke up to go do it. So, and I know Nick is going to address more of how to contact the city, and maybe through social media might not be the best way, but that is, just wanted to show you props.
Thank you.
Okay, Rhonda?
Just a quick note. So for the month of February, we received $855,858 from Rita last year. This year, we received $806,567, so it's a shortage of $49,291. And take into consideration last year's rate was 2%, and this year's rate should be is 2.25%. So if you take last year's amount that we received and extrapolate that out to 2.25%, we should have received in the range of $960,000. So we're actually short over $150,000 from last year to this year. I have discussions with Rita as to what's, some of the items that are going on, so it could be a timing issue. But the other thing is the net profit tax returns. Some of those are now going down to the state instead of through Rita. And then we also have some refunds that we had to give back, so.
I have a question on that. Do we have a way to check to see what they're receiving so that we know what we can expect?
Not that I'm aware of. I know that I do receive a schedule basically to tell us which companies have elected to file with the state of Ohio versus Rita.
I might want to elaborate a little bit on this so you understand. Our fine state of Ohio and our legislators down in Columbus, they decided that they were going to allow companies to file their taxes to the state, our income tax to the state, where we have been collecting it forever. And they are going to be charging us an administration fee for collecting our taxes. So again, you want to talk about how the state of Ohio is stripping your rights away as residents, contact your legislature and tell them this is BS. I mean, they shouldn't be doing this to the locals. They have taken away our inheritance tax, they've taken away the tangible tax, and they are asking us basically to fend for ourselves. They continue to strip away our abilities to operate. Our home rule has gone to, has been diminished, if you will, as to what we can do as a city. And if they continue on this path, obviously, you have to go back to the taxpayers if you want to maintain the type of services in your community. So I just wanted to say that. Anything else, Rhonda?
The only other thing I was going to say is that I just was looking at the schedule I had sent you regarding the property taxes, and when I had averaged them, arranged them, in order, lowest to highest, I did it based on the other effective rate. So I'm going to go back and redo it based on the residential/agriculture effective rate, because we are actually higher on the list then.
We're higher?
We would be higher, not fourth, but
Okay.
we're not going to be 26 either.
Okay.
So I'll let you know at the next council meeting. I'll update you.
I know, because when I looked at it, like I said, there are, what, 3 or 4 different categories that are in there.
Right. Like Macedonia has, there's the Macedonia City, Nordonia Hills City School District, but it's with Cuyahoga Valley JVS and Akron/Summit Library. Then there's another one for, ours is City of Macedonia, Twinsburg City School District, Cuyahoga Valley Joint Vocational. So there are a couple different areas where we're listed, so I just, that's what makes up all 76. So every city may have a couple different ones.
Well, there's not 76 in this county. We have,
Right.
There's only 11 townships and I'm going to guess maybe 15 political subdivisions that are municipalities, either villages or cities. So that 76 has to be made up of many
Right.
crossovers, if you
Right.
will.
So I'll let you,
Yeah.
I'll bring you back.
Yeah, that's why I think we have to look at it that way.
Yeah, I will. I'll let you know
Okay.
next one. Thank you.
Chief?
I'd like to thank council and especially Jan and Jessica for sitting in and pinning our part-time firefighters. All of them are paramedics, certified state firefighters. They go through a very rigorous pre-testing process so that we keep our standards very high. They're very cost-effective for us, filling in for our full-time firefighters when they're off. So I'd like to thank everybody for doing that, and we're happy to have them, for sure.
Okay, thank you. Chief?
Just thank council for the promotion, Christian Costello. He's been with us 14 years, member of the SWAT team, the CART team, worked in the bureau a little bit. I'm getting old because he was my first hire as chief, so it's, I don't know what that says, but
It says a lot for me,
it is what
too.
it is.
Because I hired you.
Yeah.
Thank you. John, do you have anything you would add? Oh, certainly, step up.
I haven't been here for a while.
I know, well, we kind of missed you.
I'm gonna take John's time that he didn't use, so, yeah.
Okay.
And it occurs to me, I think this is the first meeting I've been to this year, so I want to say congratulations to Jessica and Mr. Ventura.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
We invite both of you to visit the manor. I think you've been in it, haven't you, Jessica?
As a child, I haven't been into the new and improved one. I know
Okay, you
that
didn't
we had
come
Girl
through-
Scout camp there in the 80s.
Oh, okay. So we invite both of you, all the council members, if you want to visit, see what's been done inside the manor, because I don't know if you've heard, we're reopened. First floor's been reopened. Yeah, you can, I'll send you my phone number if you want to contact me. So we're going to gear up now for this year, hit the deck running again. I hope we're going to start our meetings next month, our monthly meetings, start planning goals and projects for 2018. We're going to continue what we can do with the restoration through volunteers and donations, especially with the outside, with the wood, which is never ending. That house has a ton of wood. We started replacing wood last year and stucco and replacing the casement windows, so we're going to continue that on our own and try to avoid not putting anything on service department plate unless we have to. But we're looking for activities this year and events. I had a question, the Wizard of Oz meeting with Don Davis, is there any feedback on that?
Yes, we had a meeting with Don Davis, going over all of what he plans on doing with the Wizard of Oz festival this year. Unfortunately, you couldn't be at the meeting, but we can certainly fill you in on all of the details. We're kind of just going over what we did last year kind of thing and putting a template together so that he follows that template, and as he progresses forward, we'll know at each level where he's at so that we can be assured that everything is put together. He needs to probably meet with the manor, or at the next meeting you can get together that we have with
Do
him.
you know when that's going to be yet?
We didn't set a date at this time, but.
Because we had started talking about some things last year that sounded good, some things at the manor that
Right.
we could do some activities. They were talking about putting some of the people in costumes at the manor, for example, about setting up a tent there for poker or some kind of card games. And you know, we'd be open for that this year since we are open on the first floor, and we could certainly have volunteers for that card game if they want to do that this year, as long as we get part of the money. You know, we're trying to raise money. You know, everything I'm thinking of now is, you know, can we raise money to help support the manor? So that's one thing we could do. We do have one event scheduled for May 12th, Saturday, May 12th. We were selected to host the CHIPS meeting, which is the Council of Historic Institutions Preservation Society, here at the Longwood Manor. It's quite an honor. That group has about 38 historical societies in it from Summit and Portage County. A lot of knowledge, a lot of resources. So we've been selected to have the spring meeting. And I'll say in advance that if we go over the safety limit on the number of people, and I'm pretty sure we would be, because 38 members, they usually send a couple people, so we're way over, even if just half the historic societies go. I'd like to reserve a, what they call them, shelter, if we could do that, for May 12th, where we could have the meeting out there and then bring small tours inside.
Well, the alternative to that would be is to have a fire watch, and if you were to have a fire personnel there on the premises, we would allow you to bring more people in at a given time, as long as there's a fire watch and we know that the exits are clear. So.
Okay, that's.
Are you off that
so-
day, Chief?
Pardon?
Are you off that day, Chief, on May 12th? We're looking for volunteers for that day.
May 12th?
May 12th.
Yeah, I'm looking at my schedule.
I'm not sure that first floor can handle 100 people.
Well, not
We're
100
talking
people, no,
38
not
times
100
two.
people, no.
We're up to
He's
70.
He's thinking more like
He said
50.
something about 38 people, but.
There's 38, but they'll bring there's 38 communities.
Well,
They
there's
could
38.
each bring multiple people.
yeah,
You
that
need
would
to
be-
look at how many of
Yeah,
ours
I mean,
can
it would
meet
be
before you
pretty
authorize it.
difficult to.
Attendance, Jan, has been like 30 to 40 people per meeting. Like I said, not all the,
We need an
societies.
RSVP list before you can ever commit.
I'm
So
not
letting
committing
them all
to
in.
going to 100 people, but if he said 30 or 40 people, I don't think that would be a problem.
That's-
We've loaded that house with that
that's
many
what
people.
it is, definitely wouldn't.
That sounds me that much.
But again,
Yeah, we'll review.
we would still need more room for a meeting, even with the 30, 40 people. I'd rather have it at.
I
the
can tell you
shelter.
that day at Longwood Park is already booked, all 3 pavilions, because they're going to have an event for the Ledyard PTA that I'm working with that committee. And so we just, last week, booked that day for
For May 12th?
May 12th, yeah. So I'm not sure what time the event's going to be, but I'm assuming it's gonna be an all-day thing,
Oh, bummer.
yeah.
You have room to put a tent outside or something? You know, like a,
Wouldn't it
event
possible-
tent,
yeah,
rent a tent?
have a meeting out on the grass by the manor, I guess.
You can rent tables from the city for free,
Oh, yeah?
Figure something out, yeah.
Wow.
or $10,
that's-
I'm sorry.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Kevin.
Yeah, as soon as you said May 12th, me and Angela looked at each other and we know the pavilions are gonna be used that day.
Okay, well, then we'll have to make an alternate plan, because we're kind of, we definitely want to have these people here. They're people that can really help us. I'm looking to, also invite people from the State of Ohio Historic, from Akron Community Foundation, from some other places. They haven't donated in the past, I'm thinking, because we weren't sure we were gonna be open, Foundations are kind of hesitant to donate money when the house may be torn down, but we're not in that state now, so.
How many people can it hold right now, according to?
15.
Oh, so you need, no matter what, you're gonna need.
Yeah.
So 30, yeah, okay.
Sounds like a good opportunity for a beautiful garden party in the grounds.
That's another thing we gotta be working on too, is that patio this year, the south patio, which has that'd be a perfect place for things like this. We're gonna try to get something going on that. Hopefully I can find some community resource like I did for the roof. We got the roof.
What time do you plan on having it, not to interrupt, so what time do you plan on having the event? See if we can make it work. I don't mean to do it right here on the floor, but.
The meetings, they start about 9:30.
At night?
No, in the morning. Yeah.
How long do they run?
Well, the basic meeting could just be like an hour.
Oh, well.
Why don't the two of you get together,
That's
along
okay.
with
No, it's
Angela?
okay. We're done.
And talk about that and work out your plans? Because depending on the
We need about an
RSVPs too,
hour.
you're gonna need the
We
fire
could even
department.
start- Maybe we could tell people to come at 9.
Take this offline, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
Well, just work with Angela, but that'll probably work. I don't think that
Who'd I
is
work
going
with?
there.
Angela, yeah.
I'll just contact me and I'll help you figure out what needs to happen.
We're hoping that, I'd like to invite you to speak to this group, Mr. Mayor, also. Like I said, these are people that can help us, and if there's foundations there and whatever that haven't looked at us in the past because they thought it was a condemned house, things are changing. So we're looking for this year to do more along that line. So, okay, I guess that's about it.
Thank you,
Yep.
John. Mark, do you have anything?
No report, sir.
How about Nate Falkenstein back there? Does he have anything? I mean, the newest member to our civil service? No. Okay. All right.
That was your chance.
Bart, you have anything for veterans? Okay. All right.
Everybody else spoke.
Vinny, were you going to talk about?
Yeah, I was
the-
going to
the
wait till he
people?
got down to new business.
Okay. So is there any unfinished business?
I'm always confused on which one to talk about, but I'll just choose this one. So, I want to talk a little bit about potholes and emergencies in the road. What we're noticing a lot of times are people posting things on social media, one example being a manhole cover had slid off. And they took the time to take a picture, post it on Facebook, and say there's a dangerous situation, there's a manhole cover off the road. What we're asking, if you're going to take the time to do that, we would prefer that you would call the service department. Their number's 330-468-8330, and let them know about that. If that's between the hours of 8 and 4 p.m., John?
7:30 to 4.
7:30 to 4. I mean, generally they're there, so we would prefer that that would go there. If it's something that's absolutely dangerous and it could cause harm to someone, we would ask that you call 911. If you feel it's a non-emergency, we also have a non-emergency line. I've talked to the police chief, and he suggested that that would be another avenue, especially after hours, 330-468-1234. I appreciate when people tell us that. I appreciate when people take the time. Social media is not a path to resolution. Letting us know and letting the department heads know and keeping us all safe would be the preference for people helping us out with that. So I would politely ask that if you do see these things or you see something that's a hazard, to call those numbers and go that route. One last thing, we also have an app. It's called My Macedonia. If you go to the Play Store on Droid, I don't know what Apple's is.
Apple's is this
You
Apple
just,
Store.
you just search one word, My Macedonia.
You can also pick up the app on there, and you can report anything you'd like on there. But again, if something is of dire need, we would ask that you make that a priority and let us know about it. Secondly, I attended a service directors meeting that I've been a member of for the past 5 years with our service director, John. You've been in it, what, about 3 years now?
Yes.
And we had some exciting conversation about flexible binding emulsions and joint permeability. But the thing that's nice about what that group of people do is we learn about new things. And there's actually one that we talked about in the meeting with the company that's actually going to be doing our paving called the J-Band. And they put a material in the joints where the asphalt comes together. And on the little pamphlet they gave us, there was a 12-year gap, and you could see where they didn't do it and where they did do it, and it stayed together. Now, you probably think that's funny and it means nothing to you, but in terms of paving a road, that's huge. Because anytime you can keep water off of a road, your road stays together. So there's little things that we're learning as we go along the way, and there's different processes. There's a new material that we're patching holes with that John has been using and has worked out very well. And actually it spoke to the entire group of probably 200 people about how well it's been working for us, because when we actually know about a pothole and we fill it with this material, it's holding, and that's huge. So thanks, John, for attending that with me and being a part of that.
Great. I would only probably elaborate just a second on the social media. It's great that somebody puts something out on social media, but you need to really contact, and I need to emphasize what Nick said, contact the city, call dispatch if you see some hazard of the city, because being on social media, we don't monitor that on a day in and day out basis. We don't know what's out there. I'll only get a call that somebody put something out there, and then when you get the call, then you want to check it out, obviously, but really that's not the proper contact to the city. It's like us having to then take a knee-jerk reaction to everything that's put out on the social media, which the city's not going to do. So, thank you. Any other unfinished business? Any new business?
Yes, Mayor, I would like to thank Mr. Larry Merrick, one of our residents, who has taken advantage of the new program that council has put in place, where you can come in here at 6:30 before a council meeting and speak one-on-one with one or two of the council people privately, and not have to, be in public. And I thank you very much for that, sir. And you were the very first one to take advantage of that. And we encourage everybody else, any other resident that wishes to do so, to contact us, and we will be here. The next regular council meeting is Thursday, March 8th. President Nick Molnar will be here as the main person for that contact, and I believe Mr. Bilkey is also going to be here. And then on the next council meeting after that for the month of March, March 22nd, Mr. Bilkey will be the head contact for that particular evening, and whatever other council person wishes to join him at that evening. And month by month, we'll give you the dates and who's going to be appearing for that month.
It'll be at 6:30, right?
6:30.
6:30.
Which I think is a very nice thing that you're doing. You know, I think that those that need to want to sit and talk with a council member or even the mayor's office, we're more than happy to do that. And I certainly get a lot of residents that do come to my office, so.
And I thank the news leader for publishing that, and that's where Mr. Merrick got his information to be able to attend this evening.
Great. Thanks for coming, Larry. Okay, any other business of council?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion's carried. Everybody have a safe trip away and hope it's getting warmer out there.